This is Off the Break Podcast, presented by Silver Screen Insider.
Welcome back to Off the Break Podcast. I'm Cody. With me are Kyle and Eric.
Hey, everyone.
Hello.
We're just giggling over our coffee talk, our chit chat before the podcast started.
Kyle abstains.
Kyle doesn't like coffee, and
He likes
just,
hot cocoa.
Yeah.
I love hot cocoa.
Oh, hot cocoa's the best.
Hot
I actually
cocoa's
almost
a
got hot
billion
cocoa
times-
yesterday.
Hot cocoa is a billion times better than coffee, but
What?
it doesn't.
It doesn't give the same effects.
Well, I mean,
it
it's not-
doesn't change.
It definitely
me.
doesn't wake you up, but it makes me happy, so
Yeah.
I'll take it.
It'll still burn your throat.
Yeah, I like cocoa with peppermint schnapps in it. It's like
Mm.
it's like an adult cocoa.
Adult and alcohol are just interchangeable.
Yeah, it's a cocoa that's your best friend.
Yeah,
It,
can be.
it warms and relaxes you at the same time.
The first time I tried it, I was like, "Whoa, this like."
It's really good.
I don't like it as much as just normal hot cocoa, but the trade-off is obvious.
I don't even like normal cocoa anymore. I only like it with peppermint
Yeah.
schnapps.
I don't like anything in my hot cocoa. I just don't like peppermint very much. I don't like candy
Oh.
canes.
You don't.
I hate marshmallows in my hot cocoa.
Oh, man. What about whipped cream?
I love whipped cream.
Okay.
I love
we'll,
whipped cream.
we'll
Really?
settle with that.
Oh, I
But I
love.
eat it all. I don't. Some people like mix it in and stuff. I just eat it all in like one spoonful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's like,
a little
okay,
chocolatey
that was like
whipped cream.
good, I guess. That was really fast. Now, on to my hot cocoa.
I like when you get sort of stale marshmallows and you put them on top, so then the cocoa starts to kind of melt them, and then you put the peppermint schnapps on top of those, so it soaks into them.
Ew.
Oh, so good.
Do you
I
think
want to
people?
be chewing things when I'm drinking things?
Do you think people think
Yeah.
we're really lame as they listen to us discuss hot cocoa?
No, these are things
no,
everybody
this is like
feels.
the best hot cocoa. They're
just
getting
the
notes.
ones who talk about it.
I mean, I agree. We're helping everyone out here, but
Yeah.
maybe there's that one guy who's like, "Meh, hot cocoa is for babies," and
Yeah.
we're just like,
Well, he's a
No.
loser. He doesn't know how to enjoy life.
this unbeknownst figure is a loser.
We're also talking about spoilers for Ready or Not, because
Yeah, get
that's-
all
Cody,
that out
Cody
of the
needs
way.
to know the ending of every movie
I
before
do.
she sees it.
Yeah.
Well, it's not every movie, but most movies. I'd say
Most,
80-20.
Yeah.
It's about the journey, not the
90-10.
destination.
No, I like to know my destination is beautiful and wonderful when I get there. I will
Ready
go
or
through.
Not's destination is beautiful and
I
wonderful.
will go through a horrible journey to get to a beautiful destination, but I will
Yeah,
not go
that's the
through a
point.
horrible journy to fall off a cliff and be miserable at the end.
Oh, I will. Every day.
No, so I can't do it.
Give me that rush.
If it's good.
So is that what we want to talk about first? Ready
Yeah, we
or
got
not?
got
Yeah.
a lot on our plate today.
Yeah, we want to discuss Ready or Not because
Mhm.
you guys both saw it. It was a nice midweek opening.
Mhm.
And then I went and saw Good Boys, so we got to talk about that.
Good.
It was hilarious, but I'm very conflicted with my mom's sensibilities.
As we thought.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of the point of like
Yeah,
the
it
movie. There
could
has
be.
to, of course, making it, they're like, how many parents are going to like see this with their kid or think of their kids when they see
Oh
this?
my gosh. It's so funny because Seth Rogen doesn't have kids, but he somehow tapped into that.
Well, because he
Like-
was a kid.
Yeah, but being like a kid from that perspective is so much different than when you actually become a parent. Like there's
Oh, I'm
this
sure.
whole other layer there that is just so crazy. And then what else do we want to discuss? Oh yeah, the
Well,
James
there's that-
Bond title.
Yep, the James Bond title.
It's awesome.
And maybe our weekend forecast. Matrix 4 is a real thing now, and I
There's
guess
this little thing that's been
we should
happening.
probably
know if
mention.
you've
They're
heard
getting a
about it.
divorce.
But
Mom
Spider-Man
and Dad are
is
fighting.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's having some problems
Right.
again.
Yeah.
For like the fourth time in
10 years.
10, 15 years.
Brutal.
That poor guy, that poor kid. He deserves so much better.
He's just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Come on now. But yeah, we'll dive into that.
We'll
in
get
just
to
a
all
bit.
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But first, Ready or Not, which I keep wanting to call Ready Player One. So if I hesitate
Very different movies.
before I say it,
A Steven
that's why.
Spielberg production.
No, I loved Ready or Not. What about you, Kyle?
I loved it too.
Yeah, how can you not? It was so.
This
it was
movie's
so-
awesome.
It was so great. It's a very simple movie. And pretty much all takes place in one location. Granted, that location is huge because this mansion is just forever.
Yeah.
But a simple story of this girl who marries into her husband's family. they're a dominion, as he makes clear they like to be referred to as.
Right.
The Ladomus Dominion, basically a wealthy family who made all their money off of board games, because that's a really lucrative market.
Well, back before TV.
And basically she has to play a game with the family in order to be initiated in, and the game that she randomly picks is hide and seek, and it turns out that hide and seek doubles as the family trying to hunt her down and sacrifice her to their ultimate patriarch ghost demon Satan, and
As you do.
she has to stay away from them and survive the night.
Had any of the previous people that married into the family been sacrificed? Had they sacrificed
There's a
somebody
cold
before?
opening that shows the husband and his, I think he's an older brother. That's what I got
Yes,
from it.
older brother.
There's a cold opening that shows the
Played by Adam
husband
Brody.
and the older brother as like little kids, like 5, 6 years old.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And they're running around, and it's like, oh, they're playing hide and seek, but obviously from the trailers, you know that it's probably violent.
Yeah.
And the older brother hides him in a cabinet or like a cupboard, and then this adult runs in. He's like, Daniel, you gotta help me, please, you gotta help me.
Has
And-
like arrows sticking out of him.
yeah, and then the little kid's like, he's over here, and then they come and take him away and obviously probably sacrifice him. But you don't know who that is. That's just like a random guy at the beginning. You find out later, But I mean, of the other people, like the other supporting characters, none of them played hide and seek. There's like jokes where they're like, oh, my game was chess and my game was Old Maid.
And those were like harmless.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, they literally just played a game of chess and they're in the family. But if you draw hide and seek,
The family
Did
gets a little weird.
Did they know after they played a harmless game that if they had drawn the one card
no,
that's what
I don't
they
think
did?
so. Well,
Oh.
I don't. Not the
Did
people.
they not?
Not the people that married into the family. Maybe some of them did.
I think
that guy,
some of them did.
There's like this guy. I forget his name. He's been in lots of things. He's like kind of one of the comedic relief. He's obviously just oblivious to everything.
Right.
You know, he doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, some of them do, depending on if their spouse told them or not.
Right.
But this guy is just kind of aloof.
The older
about the whole
brother's
thing.
wife definitely did.
No, she gets off on it.
Yeah, yeah.
But the whole point is hide and seek is a very rare thing. It almost
Yeah.
never happens. But of course, Samara Weaving's character, Grace,
Who's
draws
awesome.
that card.
Yeah.
And that's the premise. But yeah, she's such a powerhouse in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, everything from, I mean, you'll see her cover every possible emotion you can imagine, from like this like kind of like cute flirtatiousness with her husband or to be husband, to just like sarcastic, to kind of like don't give a crap kind of thing.
Mhm.
You'll see her primal feral screams as
Yeah.
blood's pouring down her face, and even in like her little facial tics and the way her voice will quiver if she's talking about things that are, you know, really serious about her. It's just everything she does is like consistently like, it's engrossing. It's like, oh my god,
It's
I can't
kinda-
take she's so good in
It
this
kind of
movie.
feels like how you find out that there's a movie star about to pop up, you know? Like just that one performance where you
Well,
just see them be able to do everything and anything and all in one.
I guess for some reason I kind of already thought that she was big, but she really isn't. She was in,
I
I
don't-
think it's
I
a
don't think she
Netflix
is.
movie. It might not be a Netflix movie, but there's that thing called The Babysitter. Which is
Oh,
also
I
kind of
don't
like a
know.
horror slasher comedy thing. But yeah, she's the niece of Hugo Weaving, and I can kind of like see some similarities.
Oh, really?
But yeah, no, this is definitely a breakout star-making performance.
Well, it's interesting because this is being distributed by Fox Searchlight, and it is their widest release they've ever done.
They
Oh, is
should,
it really?
should
Yeah.
be.
There
There
They
were a
should
lot
be
of people.
confident in
I went
this
to the
one.
late showing, and even then there was quite a bit of people there.
Yeah,
Right.
same with mine, and that was on the Wednesday opening too. So
Nice.
That was a good
And
sign.
usually, like, you don't get very many people on those early openings.
Yeah, no, I mean it's incredibly well made. Like the direction and the writing and the twists and turns are all just spectacular.
I think they're all pretty new too. Those directors and writers.
Yeah, there are 3 directors.
Yeah.
But it's also accessible in a way that doesn't
Wow.
get rid of other things.
3 directors
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
that's
2.
tough to
I think
do.
it's like brothers and then
Yeah.
a third.
and then a third. It's interesting that they could weave together a really, like, flawless narrative and tone and style
I
between.
mean, it probably helps because it is so simple. It's like there's no filler, no fat
Right.
in this thing. And and it just flies by.
They kind of get to direct their own bloody death scenes.
Yeah. But one of my favorite parts about the movie is just the sense of progression, because every, I don't know, other scene or something, there's an obvious change to Grace's outfit. Like, obviously, she starts in this pristine, beautiful wedding dress, and then, you know, she rips it and she has to tear off the bottom so that she can, like, actually run. She puts on these, like, Chuck Taylor tennis shoes underneath. Then she finds this big shotgun. She slings the rounds around her. Then she has to tear off her sleeve later. She's getting progressively bloodier, and just throughout the movie you see just like this transformation, and it's so awesome.
And towards the tail end, you're like, oh, that's what it's all led to.
Well, there's this great little like self-aware scene where, you know, she's running away from them, or she's stalking through the hallways, and she sees herself in this like full-size mirror, and there's just this awesome shot panning from tilting from her feet up, and it just shows what she looks like now, and she's just like confused, but also like, I look pretty badass. It's like, yeah, you do. But yeah, I don't know, like, there's so many good things I could say about it, but I don't want to give anything too specific away.
Right.
No, that's interesting, because, you know, you hope that when a smaller studio like Searchlight, who is going through this like merger with Disney and stuff, is that, you know, that they wouldn't be hampered by Disney's lack of like wanting to have these kind of adult movies. That
this is not a Disney movie.
They have like this autonomy, and that they're taking a chance on going so wide at a really crucial time where they really got to kind of prove themselves as a separate studio from Disney, and that hopefully this movie lives up to that expectation.
Well, I mean, and in this day and age, you know, theaters kind of come down to your big tent poles and your low budget horror films. And this definitely, you could say, falls into the latter, but it's just exceptionally well made and acted, and just all around. It's a great movie. I hope word of mouth spreads, and I can see it being kind of like a future Halloween time, October spooky season staple.
Yeah,
it will be for me. It's just so fun. It's such a good movie.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it really did come down to it being like a really great theater experience too. Like, there was those types of audience members that were coming in, and they were the ones being like, no, don't go there. What are you doing? Run away. Like, there was definitely those people.
Everybody was invested in her.
And it worked. Yeah, and it works for that type of movie.
To not be.
Yeah.
She grabs you from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. It's a really, really fantastic performance.
Yeah, it's just, I just appreciate a movie kind of being small within its budget and its overall nature, just being able to have yourself coming out of the theater being like, that's going to be memorable for me. Like, that was a fun theater experience. That was a fun movie. I was glad I was able to.
Well, those limits and restrictions force you to be more creative with what you have.
Totally.
Right.
So, like, there's so many different ways you could present the idea of a character running away from a group of people trying to kill them in a mansion, and just the ideas they come up with and the little moments, and just, I don't know, it's consistently entertaining.
I like, and we don't see it very often, kind of like simple stories in small locations or single locations without a grand spectacle, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So, no, good.
Yeah,
I'm glad both of you guys liked it.
I want to see it again.
Well, now tell us about Good Boys.
Yes. So after you guys went, or not Eric, but Kyle went and saw Good Boys, and he said it was hilarious last week, in the spoiler-free part of our podcast, in the early reactions part. I was like, okay, I've got to see it. I just really waffled because of being a mom of little boys. I was like, I don't know if I want to peer into this future window of behavior, but I did, because I love me a raunchy comedy, like a rated R raunchy comedy. And I really enjoyed it. Like, I laughed through the whole thing. It was so funny. I took my friend, who I've been friends with since we were 5 years old, literally next door neighbors, so similar to like the kids, you know, in the movie. And she also has a son who's 10 and in 5th grade. So he is on the cusp of these characters' ages.
Right.
So and I have younger sons. So
did she take him to see the movie?
No. Oh, no. It's rated R. We knew it wasn't going to be.
There are different types of
good
horror
moms,
movies.
Okay, we were gonna
Good moms, not cool
expose
moms.
our
I thought you were
children.
cool dad.
I
am cool dad.
I
but
did see like 1 or 2 moms bring their young kids to this. I did see. No, I did. Yeah.
No, they're just some things you just.
They seem
You
to have
don't wanna-
done fine, but I don't
Well,
know.
yeah,
I
there's not-
thought it was
Sneak in.
weird.
There's not anything that's like so traumatizing to them. There's not actual like
F word.
boobies or anything like that.
They're
on
gonna
it.
recognize like there's some bad words, but I don't think they're gonna understand like
They
all
won't get
the
the
joke.
doll
Yeah.
reference.
Yeah.
I get it.
Innuendos.
So we like really ran the gamut of like being total moms in all aspects of this situation that like this could be our sons.
It will be.
And it'll probably be her son
will
next
be.
year.
For sure.
And
you're gonna get the call being like, oh, it's happening.
Yeah. Puberty, it's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really enjoyed it. We laughed the whole time. It was really funny. I'm still a little conflicted because there's a little part of me I was like, how do I stop that? Like, how do I
can't.
mitigate that
It was
puberty?
good that you saw it. You got to start coming to terms with it now. And when it happens, you just got to surrender.
Poor little guys. I still kept, sometimes I would see them as like older kid, like an older
The kids in the movie?
Yeah, and then sometimes I would just see them as babies. I'm like, oh, they just waffled back and forth.
Yeah.
Because they're in that weird in-between time where they're not quite
They're
teenagers.
tweens.
Yeah. And it really played up. Like sometimes they were like little babies that you just wanted to hug and be like, it's okay, buddies. And then the other time they were like, yeah, find yourself. Be tough.
We got this,
Be
guys.
the little men that you are.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought that the CPR doll, the anal beads, all of those things were so funny.
Those jokes are funny, but they don't get tiring.
They don't.
Yeah.
The anal beads play a
It's
part
like I
through
was
the whole
right.
movie.
Okay.
Oh my god, I can't stop. It was so funny.
Yeah.
So funny. So traumatizing. I just keep thinking, not my babies. But it
Hopefully
would totally
not.
be my babies.
Hopefully not that far.
It was weird too, as like a mom and a woman, thinking about that time in your life, and for girls it's just so different. And
Oh,
so
Yeah.
I'm sure. I mean, I had a sister, but we never really
I had a brother, but we
talked about
no.
those experiences. Not
No.
that it was like off limits, but we just never did.
Yeah.
But
Right.
maybe I'll
Have
We'll
that
strike up a
conversation.
conversation. Just like, hey, so what
What
was
do
your
you
experience
remember?
like?
Yeah.
What were your tween years like?
Because when my brother, because I'm older, when my brother was in that age, I was in high school, like freshman in high school, and he was, in middle school, and so I had my own like things being a freshman in high school, and so yeah, we didn't discuss it, and my brother and I are pretty close, so we talked about lots of other things, but not that part. So I watching this, and I'm like, is this what it's like? Like a part of me is like really curious now.
You should have him go see it and see.
I need to talk to many men in my life so that when my boys get there, I'm like educated.
Yeah.
They'll be fine.
They'll be fine.
They'll be fine.
Okay. I
Yeah,
hope so.
They got a good support system.
I just,
Well,
yeah.
and I mean, it'll be fun. They're
I
gonna
just
like it.
I don't have any knowledge
Their
about
downside, but
Yeah.
they'll be fine.
I just don't have any knowledge about how Winkies work. So I'm like, I don't get this. But we'll see. We'll get there.
Right.
You like talk to your dad.
So you're able to like it still despite the mom
Yeah.
tendencies coming out.
I was a little conflicted,
Sure.
but it didn't put me off of it at all.
Good.
So I really enjoyed it. It is
The
very
message
funny.
hit home still.
My friend said that she saw that the Rotten Tomato score went up. I'm not sure if that's accurate or not.
It could have been.
But,
I mean, if more people.
but I think it
reviewed
had good word of mouth
Who
for sure.
cares?
What you mean,
Who
audience
cares?
or critic?
Audience, maybe?
Oh, then maybe.
I don't know. She just kind of mentioned it, and I kind of thought about that. I'm like, ooh, maybe this is really good. Because you came
Well, it
back
can happen. Yeah, I
saying
mean,
it was funny.
usually they go down.
Right.
At least the critical scores, just because
More
I
Nowhere
feel
to
like
go.
the first reviews that come out are a little bit more recency biased and
Yeah.
their kind of initial praise, and things tend to go down. But with audience scores, I've seen it go both ways. I mean, I'm
Right.
sure if word of mouth spread and people were like, it's like super bad with kids.
But not horrifying. That's what I would say.
Mhm.
Super bad with kids.
I just I don't know.
no.
I'm amazed that so many people thought it was gonna be so out there.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
I
it's
mean,
just the
come on.
ages. Because
It's not even that though. Maybe it's because I'm a guy. I don't know, but I watched it and I just thought it was funny. I'm like, yeah, that seems about normal.
maybe
You start cussing in
right.
4th, 5th grade.
and that didn't bother me.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, I didn't. I was like, these are bad kids.
I don't remember
I started
cussing as much
cussing
as they
in
did.
6th grade.
I think I cussed a little in high school, but I definitely got a potty mouth in college.
Yeah.
It continues
first-
on to this day,
the
and I'm
first-
like,
the
I gotta
first
tone that down.
I remember this explicitly. The first time I ever cussed in front of my friends, because my friends also,
Yeah.
we were all kind of like didn't cuss, but it's kind of like this unspoken thing, like would we be ostracized from the group if we started cussing?
Yeah.
And the first time I ever cussed was I said the lyrics to that James Blunt "You're Beautiful" song out loud because there's the
Oh.
censored version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause, like I could, she could see from my face that I was flying high.
Yeah.
but the actual lyric.
It's
is the
not
F
actually
word.
flying.
And I said that, and it was just like, we can cuss, and then it was just boom.
A new
like
frontier.
all this built
You
up,
started it, Eric.
all this built up years of like being
Broke down the
scared that
door.
we're gonna like be told on or not be friends anymore, and then it was just nonstop.
That's so funny. You had like an experience. I don't even remember having like. I remember having like conversation like talking about like sexual things with my friends, but never
all
like
the time.
yeah, but never
Constantly.
like cussing conversations. Like, should we do this? Is it okay to say this?
No, it was totally unspoken.
Yeah.
Totally unspoken. But then once that happened, everyone knew. It's like,
Once the seal
okay,
broke.
well, who are we kidding? We're in middle school. We can say
We're not fifth
words.
graders anymore.
We can say these words. I still didn't really say anything around my parents. And then, like,
Oh no!
when I would
it's-
come home from college, I would be talking, and things would just slip out, and then they're like, we don't really care at this point.
You're in college. I know. I think that's where it's like you reached adulthood
I'm
and you just
horrible,
let
though.
it go.
I'll still tone it down around them, but I'm horrible.
Potty mouth. You don't realize how bad it is till you have kids that repeat it. And then when they repeat it in their
Oh,
really
man.
teeny little kid voice and it's super cute, but you're like horrified at the same time.
No, I was a little kid, and I would
If I
call
told
out
them.
every time my grandpa or like my uncle
Yeah.
would say like a swear word or a cuss word. I would call it out and be like,
Oh.
"Grandma said the F word.
We
Grandpa said the S word."
we have outlawed the word stupid. We don't say
I
stupid.
knew kids like that.
We don't what we meant was we don't call each other stupid.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But my son has taken it that we don't say that at all. And so I'll be
Ooh,
like,
he's gonna
"Ugh,
get made fun of for
this
that.
is so dumb." Like in a situation where I'm talking
Trust
about
me,
the
he will.
You gotta-
situation.
Trust
Gotta
me, he-
clarify that he's
Oh.
allowed to say stupid.
Trust me, he will.
He will be just destroyed.
I know. I'm working on it. Like there's a fine balance. I'm trying not to be so restrictive, but it's really cute. He'll be like, "Mommy, Daddy said stupid." I'm like, how did he say it?" And then I'm trying to teach him that situations can be
Context.
dumb, but people aren't.
Yes.
You don't call each other names.
Situations, things. Yeah. You'll figure
Or
it out.
actions, or decisions. Like those but those are big level concepts for, a
Yeah.
Oh,
now
yeah.
a 6-year-old to understand. But
Yeah,
we're trying to make that
it's bigger than
definitive line.
himself.
Yeah. It is very much easier just to be like, we don't say stupid, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Black
Yeah,
and
he's
white.
gonna be in the classroom and a
Or
kid's
dumb.
gonna raise their hand or something and say stupid, and he's gonna be like, "You're not allowed to say that word."
Who knows
and
the
then
way things
the
are going,
class
though?
are gonna turn around and be like, "You are such a loser."
Not my baby.
No, trust
It will
trust me.
happen.
Trust me, it'll happen.
When
You
they
know,
were playing the Dungeons and Dragons cards,
Yeah.
or Magic the Gathering, I'm not sure which deck those were.
very
Yeah.
different things.
They are different things, so I wasn't
If they
sure
were
which.
cards, it was probably Magic the Gathering.
Magic? Okay, yeah.
Were they rolling dice?
Nope, it was Magic.
Yeah.
It was cards. I was like, ooh, I should get my boys into this. Look at the community and gameplay that they're doing.
It's a very. I never did it, but I had lots of friends. It's a huge community.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's very insulated. And
That's okay.
there's
Probably
a reputation
insulated,
that goes with it, but
probably
that
insulated
doesn't
from
matter.
naughty things, which is good, fine with me.
I guess, yeah. I probably the big reason why I was a good kid. I didn't
Yeah.
party or sneak out of the house or do anything like that ever, because I was just genuinely happy, playing video games with my friends or driving around with them, just doing our geeky things.
Mm.
protected.
think I was pretty good. I never snuck out, but I had
I was
people
other than
sneak in.
my incessant potty mouth, I was an angel.
Oh, I don't
Not
know.
consciously, I just, it's like, this is what I want to do. I don't want to go
Right.
to popular kid's name here is party. I'm going to play Xbox Live till 4 a.m.
You rebel.
on Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
I
That's where you
I
really be a
remember a
rebel.
big fight I had with my parents was I wanted a TV in my room when I was in high school. And then I would stay up all night and watch it and then be so exhausted in the morning. And this is why they're like, this is why we don't want you to have the TV.
I didn't have a TV for a long time, but when I first got my first laptop, I just watched all of South Park every night. I'd watch like 9 episodes and it'd be up to like 2, 3 a.m.
I
every
had
night.
a little black tube TV. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it was not flat screen at all. It was a tube.
Awesome.
Oh, we
It
only
sat
had,
on a
we only
certain
had 2
thing.
TVs.
Oh my gosh. And it was black and had a little remote.
Mhm.
And it was like a 13-inch tube TV. It was so tiny.
I did, I guess.
I had that through college
Yeah.
too.
I ended up getting a tube TV in my room, I think junior or senior year of high school, because I
Yeah.
went through like a retro game phase. So I bought like Super Nintendo, the original
Oh.
Nintendo, and I was just like, I just want to play these old games in my room. I want to build up a collection of cartridges.
Do you
How
still
long
have
did that
them?
last? Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the Nintendo 64 like when it came out. That was like my
Right.
first console, and I still have all of those cartridges. A bunch of them. I got quite a bit of the Super Nintendo and the original Nintendo cartridges. I never got rid of them.
My brother had a 64 and we used to play together all the time. And he lived with us and when we were in college with me for a short time. And I think he had an Xbox then. So his first console was a 64.
Yeah.
Although we did have PlayStation. I can't remember.
Yeah, my cousins had them.
Yeah, we had a PlayStation.
He was one or the other.
And then the 64 was awesome. We had that forever.
I still have it.
Yeah. But
Still busted out.
he has all that stuff. I didn't get to keep any of that. They were kind of his thing. So
Look at this nostalgic tangent Good Boys put us on.
Yeah, I know,
know.
right?
reverting back to our own childhood.
The power of movies, am I right?
Well, talking about
Hey.
sad childhood things, let's talk about divorce.
Oh.
Oh, you want to go there? Before we get to divorce, let's talk about the other 2 little things on Earth.
Get them out of the way.
Yeah.
Fine.
Let's get them
I
out of the
love
way, and then
that
we can end on divorce talk.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds
Let's talk
good with
about
me.
Bond.
Yeah, let's-
James Bond.
The new title is dun dun dun. No Time to Die.
It's so cool.
Which is the most Bond-esque title, and I
I mean,
love
it's
it.
about time. It was just referred to as Bond 25 for like years now.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
all that drama behind the scenes, shifting pieces,
Directors.
breaking ankles, directors
Yeah.
coming and leaving, screenwriters changing, production delays, all of that. And people are like, these are a lot of red flags. Is this movie going to be good? And then, boom.
It pretty much had a title that made everyone be like, okay, good. We're still having this Bond movie.
Well,
it's
like-
gonna be awesome.
It's like the most stylized, like the title reveal.
Yeah.
It was like a thing on Twitter or something, but it just shows
it got
know,
put onto the Bond
classic black
YouTube
and white, like
page.
opening sequence, like when he shoots the camera kind of look, but then it zooms out and he's like standing on the letters that say "No Time to Die."
has like Bond music playing. Daniel Craig looks awesome as Bond, of course, as smooth
And it's just like,
as
yeah,
ever.
I'm totally in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Dads everywhere gonna love it because dads love Bond. Everybody loves Bond, but dads love Bond.
You know, I really liked Skyfall. I never saw Spectre though.
Spectre's
so
good
I'm kind of ready for a
enough.
Bond movie.
Spectre got a lot more heat than I feel like it would have if it didn't follow Skyfall.
Yeah.
Skyfall was just so good.
Skyfall was really good, but that was also a very
Best Bond song
Unique.
ever.
it was a very unique entry in terms of its tone.
Yep.
It was a lot more serious and kind of introspective, psychological about
Like
the character
intimate.
of Bond.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just with a title like No Time to Die, the thing that comes to my mind is all the other Bonds.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a homage to old
I'm
school
imagining
Bond,
him
for
like on a
sure.
jet ski being chased by sharks. With,
Yeah.
machine
He's riding a
guns
shark.
And
He's riding a shark with his like bayonet strapped to his leg.
yeah. Oh yeah.
and
Oh yeah. Yeah.
His,
That's just even
his thing
cooler.
across his shoulders.
Yeah. It's gonna be a classic, just old school fun Bond.
That
Yeah.
makes sense because Bond 25, it's like a big deal that we have a 25th Bond movie. So
Yeah.
pay homage to it. Why
It's
not?
like, hey,
Right.
and it's it's Daniel Craig's last movie.
Yeah.
We already had the serious, introspective,
Bond,
get to
right.
figure him out. Now let's just send him out on a super enjoyable
And
high note.
let's like really delve into all of his skills. I feel like the movies when they became more intimate and retrospective and maybe even quote more realistic, more real world driven,
Kind of took away.
they got away from all the fun gadgets, all of the skills that he has.
I can kind of see that, yeah. I mean, it never bothered me because at the time that
That's
approach
kinda what you
was
wanted.
refreshing.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, we saw that. Let's
Get back.
everyone loves the classic, like
I want
him
like
him being shown all his new fun toys that
Yeah.
he can use.
I want 100-foot zip line in like a flask that he carries around with him. Like I want crazy things that just don't make sense. And I'm like, oh, the technology.
yeah.
I do wonder if we are going to get that type of movie as we're like coming up with in our heads, or if we are still going to have like that realistic, introspective Bond.
I mean,
Well,
it might be
I
a
think-
blend, but that title,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
I
that's
hope
what
we're
I'm
not
wondering.
reading
Like, could be
too
a blend
much
of the
into
two.
the title because it's still Daniel Craig.
I mean, there's fun speculating as long as you don't take it too seriously. It's
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah.
But Daniel Craig plays Bond a certain way, and
He does.
and so you're gonna get that more quiet,
Mhm.
reserved
Mhm.
Bond rather than the fun like Pierce Brosnan, like, hey baby, Bond.
Which I think that's fine. I don't think we're
Yeah.
wanting to go back to that type of territory.
do.
But
But
well,
you
except for
can
Cody,
put the
but-
Daniel Craig Bond in situations and scenarios that otherwise you wouldn't expect.
Mhm.
I just hope that the tone like doesn't like his reserved nature it doesn't feel out of place and something a little bit more
I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah,
actiony.
I'll be curious because the director is Cary Fukunaga, I believe, and I don't really know him as like the type of guy to go down that territory, but I don't
He's
know,
very
maybe-
serious. He's
Yeah,
very,
so I'm
very
wondering
serious.
how if we're just coming up with this as a blending
Because-
of the two or something,
because
or if
the
it will
title-
just be like
Maybe
yeah.
it'll be ironic. Well, I
We
think
could be looking too much into this, honestly, but
I
it just
read a
makes me
rumor that
wonder.
Danny Boyle wanted to kill Bond. I
yeah,
think you were telling me about that.
yeah, and
then
that's why they
the
parted ways
title
with
is
him.
kind of like a jab at him. Like,
We're never killing Bond.
it will be interesting to see if they try to have some sort of send off. I guess I should remember this, but I can't remember.
Lashana Lynch is the
Like
new Bond.
previous
don't you
Bond,
remember?
previous Bond movies. The last one of whoever's playing that version, do they ever have kind of like a send off, or does it just end like any other Bond
I think
movie?
it just ends like any other Bond movie.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, but I
Yeah.
don't think they ever do like a homage type
It is
thing.
interesting
feel
because
like-
this one is the first kind
Yeah.
of serialized Bond iteration. Because Quantum of Solace was a direct sequel to Casino
Yeah.
Royale.
Mhm.
Spectre follows. Skyfall characters from Spectre are returning in this one.
Yeah.
There's a lot more
and
continuity.
there was never any of that in
not
the
real,
other
not to this
Bonds.
extent. No.
Except maybe was Jaws. Was he in more than one movie?
I don't know.
Because he,
I still
I
haven't
don't think
seen
he-
enough Bond. I need to if I
Yeah.
want to be a.
I can't remember. I can't recall either. There's so many.
Well, there are
They all
25
kinda-
of them.
They
Right.
all kind of merge into one for me,
But-
so I never really know.
I don't know. The power of a title
yeah.
can get you speculating. Get
No.
the wheels
Oh, it
spinning.
really has.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm super excited.
And
You were
then
asking for who? I'm sorry.
Jaws.
Oh, I was thinking of Timothy Dalton.
No.
I don't know.
What? No, I'm thinking villains, like
Oh,
or
villains.
other characters
There's
that
just
would
an
make
actor
an
named
appearance.
Jaws.
Yeah.
Remember when Jaws played James Bond?
I was
just remember
so
that
confused.
scene
I was
where
like,
he
which
smiles
guy was that?
and it's like all metal, huge teeth.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that scene. I don't know where he kind of like
yeah, I don't
tries
know
to
where my
smile.
connections went in my head went. That was weird.
Yeah, No Time to Die. Let's go on to our next
A
thing so
fitting
that we
title.
can talk about the
Yeah.
divorce.
okay.
Yeah,
Matrix
let's-
4. Did we really need a fourth one? No.
I'm gonna back up. I use this argument a lot too, and I don't like it when I do. I feel like the argument, do we need this or do we ask for this, doesn't hold any water because nobody asks for anything.
That's
You know,
true.
But it is a fourth one. Neo and Trinity died in the third one.
Yeah.
It's like, how are they?
I never even saw the third
I never saw
one.
the whole one, but I saw it on mute on a TV at my friend's house in the background, and I remember it. But I know a lot of people really don't like the third one.
Right.
A lot of people don't like the second one that much either.
No. I think I don't feel like there was story that was well thought out for sequels. I feel like the story was the first one.
Yeah.
And then no one ever really thought of like, oh, how do we continue this, or what
At
should we
least
do?
organically.
Yeah, and so then they fumbled their way through two more trying to make it bigger than what it was.
I hope it's not a soft reboot, because those really get
Ugh.
old.
Well, I'm worried because there's sequel-itis and this reboot-itis, and people
Well, the thing
just
I guess we should clarify is
Right.
Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss are confirmed to come back,
yeah.
which is why I'm confused, because I'm like, they both died explicitly at the end of what we thought at the time was the entire trilogy. You know,
But
he
they-
sacrificed himself, and that was like the catalyst for the peace that happened afterwards. It was like a very final moment. So, is he gonna come back as like a different version, but he's like all code?
Is he just code in the Matrix?
Yeah,
Both of them?
Probably. He's probably gonna be like God.
Or
Of
did
some
he
kind.
somehow like live on in one of the machines,
I
and
don't
it's
know.
code like the Hugo Weaving character?
Or they pull
Right.
a Dark Fate and they're like, we're ignoring those two. It's a direct sequel to the first one. Just
Oh,
kidding,
God, I didn't even
guys.
think about that.
I mean, it's a thing now.
Well, Lana
It's
Wachowski,
happening.
one half of the original creators' sibling team, is returning. We don't know if her sister's coming back. I think the original art designers or production designers or something, they're also coming back, so it'll look the same. Cool.
Yeah.
But cool, they'll have
Yeah,
the
well,
jackets back.
When I read this, I was like, I love Keanu Reeves, but
He's making
He's
another
he
comeback.
I love a
looks
third
older
Bill and
now.
Ted, but Keanu Reeves looks pretty good. I'm gonna say.
Little droopy jowls for my Neo. I mean, it's easy to hide it behind a John Wick beard, but
True. Yeah.
Neo
yeah,
is not gonna have, maybe not, a John Wick beard. So
Oh, Keanu's loving that look.
True.
He's I think he's rocking that look in Bill and Ted 3.
yes, it hides his
Is
droopy
it? Oh, is
jowls.
he?
I'm telling you,
They're
there's
not
a little
that droopy.
There's a little droopy jowls going on. That beard hides it. I'm not saying
we
it's a
should
bad
all
thing.
aspire to look.
He looks fantastic.
We should all
still,
aspire to look half as good as Keanu
but it's
Reeves
just like
at that age.
just like Tom Cruise's, as you put it, neckgina. It's there.
That was
it's
that
a real
one
thing.
picture.
It's a real
Pictures can be
thing.
unflattering.
Yeah.
Even celebrities can be unphotogenic at times.
Right. Just saying, men get older. It's
Yeah.
okay.
And he looks better than ever.
I wouldn't say better than
He
ever.
looks better than ever.
Uh,
you only.
I-
He
You only look
Age
better.
age does make him look better.
what?
Yeah.
I liked my favorite Keanu Reeves is Speed Keanu Reeves.
I was gonna say like look at
Buzzcut
Speed.
Keanu.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's such a good movie.
Speed.
That movie's so good.
It is so good.
It's a freaking masterpiece.
hmm
Yes.
Well, but I don't know. I think age has helped him
Yeah,
You
there
know.
you have it. Matrix 4. Apparently, it's happening.
with a prettier Keanu.
There's no, there's no release date or anything. It'll probably go into production next year. Keep your eyes on it. I
Well,
guess.
hopefully it doesn't go into development hell. Because a lot of these types of projects, they usually are like, oh, is it going to happen? Gee, I don't know.
I don't
Maybe
know.
I'm talking to someone.
with a big franchise like this or a big IP property, I don't think if they announce something, I think it's because
They're going to stick
the
with
money and the stuff is
Especially if
behind
the
it.
creators are coming back.
Who distributes Matrix?
I mean, Warner Bros. Wait,
So
didn't
is
Warner
that-
Bros. not do it before?
I don't know. No, it's I know what the. I think it was Warner Bros.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of their little animation that their
Oh.
logo has at the beginning of movies. It like starts with gold and there's kind of like a city,
Sure.
like reflection in it, and
Oh,
but it's all green.
yeah.
I don't know. I think, but who knows? Maybe
We would have
Max.
to look into that. I
I
don't.
think
I'm
what
not
we're
sure.
gonna see is these other studios trying to resurrect past properties.
I mean, hasn't that already been happening for like
Yeah,
5
the-
years?
I know, but like we're gonna. I feel like that's just gonna uptick more. Like
yeah,
everybody's
left and
gonna
right.
go back into their vaults and their catalogs
Well,
and
they
be
have their streaming
what else
service,
do
and
we
they're like, "How
have?
are we going to populate
What do
our
we have
streaming
here?
service?"
like, yeah.
Blow it off the dust.
And then they're gonna
Ugh.
create a Matrix movie, maybe to introduce new characters, and then it's gonna go to a streaming service.
What has The Force Awakens done? I feel like that model was established there at the scope
Yeah.
it's at now. It's like, take your original people, bring them back as old, but acknowledge that they're old.
Right.
But have a sort of poetic symmetry where they're now the mentor.
Yep.
Bring in the young people, pass the torch. People
Didn't
just eat that
Didn't
up.
they
think
talk
that's always
about
been a
it
plot
in
point
Once
before.
Upon a Time in Hollywood? Be like, you were the main, now you're the heavy, and the heavy comes.
Yeah,
and
they're kinda
they
getting
become
at
the
that.
the villain.
all
Yeah, it's
right.
always
And then
been
the
a
new
thing.
guy-
Yeah, it's always been a thing.
Right.
But now it's like the most.
That's the whole
but now
premise
it's
of Once Upon a Time.
inseparable from nostalgia and just recycling.
Nice pull.
Right.
That was a nice pull there.
Yeah,
Quinn knows what's going
Quinn
on.
does
Yeah.
know.
He's read between the lines.
By the way, he's gonna be a father. I think that's why we saw a more intimate.
Is he not a father yet?
No,
married?
he just got married.
Yeah, he's married.
Oh,
And he is going to be a father for the first time in his like
What?
60s. Yeah,
well,
he's
good
like-
for him.
I think he's 60.
I think
Maybe
he's like
he's late
60.
50s or
maybe,
60s.
He
but
doesn't even look that old to me, so that's kind of surprising. I don't know.
right?
I mean, I would guess 50, but not 60. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, he's older
Good
than
for
you
him.
would think he is.
It's probably a
and-
big part of it.
yeah.
Is that reflective
So
tone.
it makes me wonder about his 10th movie.
Fatherhood comedy.
Yeah.
So it looks like a Warner Bros. Chairman was the ones that talked about the announcement of the Matrix 4, so I imagine
it's
they're the
gonna
ones
be Warner's.
distributing.
Yeah, and then they probably. Well, Warner's is owned by AT&T now, so they're
Right,
trying
yeah.
to really spin off HBO into that new streaming service.
HBO Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matrix
they'll
4
probably
HBO Max
eventu-
original.
I bet they'll eventually drop the HBO and it'll just be Max. Like,
Really?
WB
Yeah.
Max.
yep. I bet that's what they do because
Hmm.
they've gutted HBO. I think that with the creative executives and the type of film things that they're going to process, you're not going to see the HBO of Game of Thrones and True Blood anymore because of the AT&T.
You mean True Detective?
True Blood was
True
also.
Blood was
Oh,
also-
True Blood was
that
also
a
there?
Huge
Yeah.
HBO series.
Oh, why did I think it was on something else? Okay.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Anyways,
That's depressing.
it is depressing, but
Divorce time.
divorce time.
Divorce talk.
I don't like talking divorce.
Yeah, so basically,
we don't have to say it as divorce, but
basically,
it's divorce.
Sony and Disney couldn't come to an agreement on money, and long story short, Spider-Man is no longer involved with the Disney Marvel Cinematic Universe or Kevin Feige.
It's not going to have a hand in its
Yeah.
direction.
So we should probably explain like what went on to
Yeah,
cause this
no,
rift.
definitely.
Okay.
Do you want to
Yeah.
go over it, Eric?
Sure. As far as I know, beforehand, the deal was that Sony was kind of fronting the money and
pay for
financing the
everything.
movies.
Yep.
Disney had the creative license to integrate Spider-Man into their Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Plus merchandise rights, like
Plus
all of
they-
them.
Disney has all the merchandise rights, all the
Yeah.
toys, all of that stuff.
Yep.
So basically,
I
they
f-
had
I
a
feel like-
95-5 split.
According to Deadline, that was
Right.
the initial. That was the deal they had for Homecoming and Far From Home.
And all this talk is from
Right.
Deadline too. They broke the story.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was 2 movies that were originally discussed. And then I think there was something like Disney got a 5% cut on the back end of the film profits. They
Yeah, no,
got
that
a
was
little
the
bit of
original
that.
deal.
Yeah.
Disney
Yeah,
had 5,
basically.
Sony had 95.
Right. But Sony put up all the money for it.
Yes.
Disney got their take on the merchandising, which they had actually purchased beforehand.
Yeah.
So they had already, but you can't make money off toys if if no one likes the Spider-Man character anymore because of the movies.
Yeah.
So
Good thing people like the Spider-Man character.
Disney wanted, now Disney has purchased Fox and they need to pay back that $70 billion that they paid
And
for.
it didn't really help that almost all of the Fox movies have not been performing the best.
No, so they haven't paid for themselves like they thought they would, maybe.
Yep. They're like, oh,
I don't think anybody's surprised.
like, oh dang, this didn't really work out.
Yeah.
We
I don't think
Dark
the thought
Phoenix,
came to people's minds.
We thought Dark Phoenix was gonna make.
I think
A
they
little bit
probably
more.
thought Dark Phoenix would do better than it did.
Yeah,
But-
for sure.
Yeah, so basically that's a detail I feel like most people don't really realize
No.
because the unfortunate fact is a lot of fans, Twitter culture, whatever, just those people have
Consumers.
jumped to conclusions and
Clickbait
there's
titles.
trending hashtags to hashtag boycott Sony.
Oh,
hashtag
I have to tell you
save
guys about something about
Spider-Man.
that later, but keep going.
But obviously they're just thinking like we want Spider-Man to stay in the MCU. They
Right.
don't really care about the
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 end.
business deal back
Yeah.
end. I mean, why would they? But it's
It
just
doesn't
unfortunate that
affect
Sony's been kind of thrown under the rug before people even really know what's going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's not really their fault because Disney was the one that approached Sony being like, hey, how about for a new deal, we have a 50-50 split of the box office profits, right?
Yep. They
So of
wanted
course
50-50.
Sony says no because that's a ridiculous offer.
So we don't have all the details. I don't know if Disney meant 50-50 and we'll put up some money. Probably not.
They wanted a co-financing agreement.
Yeah. So they're gonna put up some money, but they want more on the back end. But they still get all the merchandising. So
yeah, they still get to keep all that other stuff.
Yeah, and that's where you really make money. You don't make it off the ticket sales.
No,
you make it off the merchandise.
What I kind of saw happening was Disney, obviously, like we said, they need to make up their Fox debt, and so they approached Sony and they're like, "Hey, you know,
it's not just Fox debt too, because $70 billion, Disney could probably pay that back pretty quickly, but it's also the money that they have to put in to develop the streaming platform. It's
Plus,
all the production
the
budget,
Star Wars theme park that they just added in too, because they're not making the profits that they wanted. As of now, so
and all of the additional theme park stuff that they're going to add. So they have theme park debt. They've got all this production debt for the streaming plus. You know, you think of how expensive, because they're not going to do low quality on it. And they said that the streaming will not will be debt ridden for a couple years.
Yeah, they're anticipating they're not going to make a profit for a while.
Yeah, so they've got that. They've got this now debt for the Fox stuff. So they're usually a more fiscally conservative, I would say almost miserly company, and this is a lot of spending without a lot of gain and return right away. So I'm sure that they're trying to go out and go to different vendors and different partners and say, hey, let's rework this deal so they get that cash infusion more quickly. That's
kind of what I saw. I was like, Disney needs money, so they go up to Sony and be like, hey, let's make this a 50-50 thing. And Sony, probably bolstered by their Oscar for Into the Spider-Verse, all the money that Venom made
by accident,
they've been working closely with Disney on the Spider-Man movies. They think they cracked the code. They're kind of like, no, we kind of have this figured out. Why don't we just stick with the deal that's been working?
It'll probably
so
be
far?
that, but also 50-50 split is a bit ridiculous to ask for.
It's a huge jump from 5 to 50.
Exactly. Maybe 70-30. Hopefully if they renegotiate, they could come up with something like that.
Well, the confusing thing is there are lots of, depending on the source you look at, some people are saying that Sony offered a counter deal of 30-70, Disney being 30. Some people are saying that they just took their ball and went home. I don't know. It's all very up in the air.
I'm sure that there was a lot of conversations because they had been negotiating this well ahead of time, and then I'm sure that everybody was waiting to see how Far From Home did, and then when it did so good, I think it bolstered both their sides. Sony was like, we distributed a really good film, our marketing paid off, all this, and
Disney's like, we created the thing that became your biggest movie of all time.
Disney's like, you wouldn't have been there if it hadn't been Avengers, enthusiasm still playing out. So each side
Fair
was
arguments.
bolstered.
But
they're both right and they're both wrong. But
part of me does feel like that Spider-Verse was a big thing because when it's unanimously seen as one of, if not the best Spider-Man movie.
Even amongst our group, we loved that
Spider-Verse
movie
is
so much.
Totally. It's an incredible movie, and that was all.
There's
Sony.
so much love for Spider-Gwen and the Miles Morales Spider-Man now. More so than there was before.
That was all Sony. So Sony's probably like, we know how to make a good Spider-Man movie. Have you seen our Oscar-winning film?
And they had Lord and Miller who did that Spider-Verse. They are thinking, hey, we got them kind of on the team here.
They
always
locked them down for sure.
So I get the arguments on both sides. It's just money.
It's all business. Fans should be upset because this is kind of a bummer, but at the same time, don't be attacking studios. Don't be boycotting Sony. Don't try to there's a Facebook group now to where it's let's storm Sony and get Tom Holland and bring him back. Guys, he's not trapped in a cave.
Right.
He's
trapped in the Sony headquarters.
Yeah, he's not in a dungeon. That's not how this works.
Perform for us,
businesses are trying to make money and they're trying to give you content.
Shoving food through the crack in the door.
Yeah.
He's not handcuffed to a table.
Be ready for filming tomorrow.
It's not. Oh my god.
Yes, Mr. Sony.
So stop doing that. Stop blaming studios. They're trying to.
I'm sure
make
that
a business.
I'm sure that thing is very tongue in cheek. I'm sure they're.
I hope so, man.
Well, there's no way it's not. They're joking about the Area 51 thing, but people like to make things. They like to boil them down into an emotional, personified thing that they can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot easier for people to see it as Sony is preventing Spider-Man from being with Disney than to think of all of the nuts and bolts and moving pieces of business deals.
I can't imagine being Sony and trying to negotiate with a rival that is now very threatening to your business.
Yeah.
You got to give Sony props. Like,
kind
that
of
is
ballsy.
Yeah.
Sony did what a lot of others can't do, and they kind of told Disney to F off.
Yeah.
They did do
That's
the right
why
thing.
I
50-50 is not a fair
I'm
split.
kind of proud
I'm
of Sony
I've also
for
been
that.
I've been
Yeah.
biased against Disney for a long time.
Right.
But I'm totally team Sony.
It's kind of interesting because, now with this Disney Fox merger, Disney does command at least 30% of the box office market and probably more. I think that's being
No, I
too
read
conservative.
a statistic. I don't know if it was just the summer or the year to date of this year,
Yeah.
but like the box office was like 5 billion, something like that.
Yeah.
And Disney was 50% of it.
Right.
Responsible
Saying
for
as though they have $5 billion movies
Yeah.
this year alone, I think that's safe
Yeah.
to say it's
And
mostly
so
them.
you're in this rival studio. You don't really have a lot of IP. This is literally your crown jewel. The only thing you've really got to compete at all on any level, and in an arena where now Disney owns the whole comic book genre. Because before it was a little competitive because Fox had some comic book, Sony had some comic book, Warner's has DC, and now it's just pretty much Disney and then maybe a little Warner's with the DC stuff. But
Though they've had a poor year this year, so that's not
Warner's,
a good look.
yeah. That's a
That's a
whole
whole nother.
different
That's a
thing.
whole
Yeah.
nother thing, of course.
but Sony's sitting there, and I feel like they were really backed into a corner, and they
Stood
really
their ground.
couldn't. Yeah, they
I
really
love
couldn't
it. I love
say
it. They're the underdogs.
whatever you want, Disney, because they're
Yes,
competing
please,
with
we'll
them.
roll over.
It's not just
Bend over.
it's not just this film, but they're competing them with every weekend of the calendar year, and it's nice to be partners, but they weren't super partners. Like they still were two companies, and they weren't very great from a booking perspective on sharing on like terms and things like that. Like they were still.
It was all about the money. They probably didn't like each other very
Right.
much.
It didn't matter that on the business end, it didn't matter that Spider-Man was part of the MCU.
No.
Disney was still like, no, you can't double feature us with that movie and get lower terms and things like that. So there was still a lot of that. So there's no incentive if you're going to be two separate companies and hoard your money together for them to come together on it.
And I also give props to Sony on how they're responding to this announcement too. Like they came out on their Twitter page and they gave like a really heartfelt note being like, guys, this does suck. Like we don't want this to happen, but we're just doing what's best for the company. We hope people are understanding about this.
People are
we're still going to try and work things out. Hopefully we can come to terms on something. But
I think
for
technically
now,
negotiations are still open. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Nothing's
But-
Nothing's final about this
I'm
yet.
sure
It's
they're
just looking like it's going in that direction.
I'm sure they're seeing how the media, if it twists anybody's arm, if anybody looks bad enough in this.
Well, I've been seeing more things popping up where people are kind of starting to figure out the more nuances of
Like
it.
it's not Sony's fault.
Yeah.
Stop
Yeah, I
boycotting.
don't think
Yeah.
it's totally flipped where now everyone's like,
No.
oh, Sony are actually good guys. We need to protect
Yeah.
them.
Right.
But it's getting
We
out
really
there.
wanna
It's
vet 'em.
not so one-sided.
Yeah. I hope people are not looking at, I don't know, like articles like BuzzFeed, for example, or this and that, where they're just full on being like, no more Spider-Man in the...
My
it's like,
non-business,
not yet.
non-industry, just purely as a fan opinion on it, I feel like people are still recency biased for the whole Tom Holland MCU Spider-Man. It's
Sure.
like, yeah, I get it. I've loved those movies. Far From Home was one of my favorite MCU movies. But Sony's had Spider-Man for forever, you know?
Yeah.
15
the
plus
Tobey
years.
Maguire's Spider-Man 1 and 2 are still some of the best superhero movies of all time. Spider-Man 2 especially.
Yeah.
It's better than 90% of the MCU. And, give it a year or two, people are going to be like, it was cool when Spider-Man was in the MCU. But I have faith that Sony, as they proved with Into the Spider-Verse, can make more good Spider-Man movies. It doesn't have to be connected to the MCU.
Right.
It's just going to take a little bit of, transitional time for people to, get over the fact that
Come to terms.
He's not the Spider-Man that's connected to Tony Stark, the Spider-Man that was snapped away, the Spider-Man that was...
That's going to be so tough.
All of those were great, It's not gonna be tough for me.
Well, not for
I
you,
get,
but
I get what you're
as a
saying.
narrative aspect to it, as well as a fan aspect.
I feel like all
to
it takes
too.
is one good movie, and people are gonna be like,
True.
Okay.
You get the one win, people will forgive you.
yeah. It really just comes down to how Disney's gonna handle Spider-Man's absence in their movies going forward.
I mean, I
Yeah.
think it will be mostly fine for them. You know,
I feel like
they're going to be showing so many other characters that at some point
I
people
feel
are
like
going to be
they'll
like,
pivot. They'll
Yeah.
pivot.
Yeah.
They've been so secretive about the next phase. They'll pivot and they'll be fine.
so. I feel like it's super dramatic because it's the big news story this week,
yeah.
and Spider-Man is
For
very
sure.
loved by most. He's the biggest superhero, I would
especially
say.
Tom Holland's version. Like that's
Yeah, and,
very beloved.
You know, MCU's still at its like peak Endgame type
Yep.
of stuff. So people are obviously very reactionary, but I don't know. Just wait and see.
You know
Yeah,
what's
that's
kinda
all we got to do.
Interesting too is that 4 years ago when the deal was struck, it was Amy
Wow,
Pascal
4 years ago.
who did that, and she
Mhm.
headed Sony, and then they had the hack, and then
Yeah.
she was not let go, but pretty much demoted
Yeah, she got
into
demoted.
a producing role, and
Mhm.
she's out. So it's a whole new CEO. It's a whole new
It's a whole new
agenda.
Sony.
A different Sony
Yeah.
after the hack,
Mhm.
different. And, Sony at the time as well had a very robust, like, electronics division within their company
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
with video games and the other electronics aspect.
Right.
And their electronics division is kind of suffering right now,
Mhm.
as well as I think their PlayStation division is probably doing okay, but so there's more emphasis on the film to be its own
Yeah.
good thing. I
Yeah.
think whereas before that was kind of like a secondary kind of thing with the company because they had these other divisions that were doing so well.
Mhm.
So and then the head of the Sony, the whole company is different than it was before. So I think there's just a lot of changes too.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the day, I think it's a good thing. We gotta have people willing to stand up and compete with Disney.
Yeah,
I mean, the more the merrier. But
that have an opportunity.
yeah, not
to
everybody
do it.
can do what Sony did,
No.
even if they really, really want to,
Right.
which is very sad. But
Well, and that's the problem with when you have such concentrated media
mhm.
companies is that there's going to be some that dictate product and vision and and that's the whole thing with antitrust. That's why people don't like monopolies is because
Yeah.
it's not fair fighting.
I don't know. I feel like Disney's success is 80% of the Marvel movies. Yeah, their live action movies make a lot of money, but
Right.
when people think of Disney's power, it's because of the ubiquity of the Marvel movies.
I think Disney's power is that they create one like aspect. They create a movie, but what they really create is your ability to live in that movie in other ways through toys,
Oh yeah,
through theme parks,
you'll wear
through
Disney franchise shirts,
yeah.
backpacks, posters,
Yeah,
toys.
Disney lets
It's
you live
everywhere.
in the franchise, whereas all the other studios let you experience it,
Yeah,
but
it
you
ends
don't
when
get
the
to
movie's
live in
over.
it.
Yeah.
And so, does that really mean that Disney is creative and can create the initial
They're
experience?
good business.
No,
They're
but
good
I was
they're
gonna say they have a great business plan.
but they
just
but they
cold.
keep you in it
Yeah.
so long, and that's been their whole model. And because
Brainwash you.
and because they have an inability to create and be creative themselves,
As we've seen,
they
for
just
many,
buy
many years now.
these
Mhm.
other creative companies and then they incorporate them into their like huge media prison of like theme parks and stuff.
Ugh.
I'm not saying it's terrible because I get caught up in it too. It's
Everybody
the whole
does.
fandom.
It's the ultimate.
Guilty.
It's
Like,
yeah.
If you look at my
conundrum.
office right now, I have a signed Buzz Lightyear from Tim Allen. I have
Well, that's just cool.
Beauty and the Beast stuff. I have Avengers things everywhere. There's like so many Groots, so many Funko Pop Groots right here. It's crazy. I mean, I love it. So I'm a fan first and foremost of anything. And
But it's like, guys,
But you recognize the
gotta
monopoly.
slow
Yeah.
down, please. This
Yeah.
isn't gonna end well.
But I'm also a fan of other things. I've got Harry Potters and I've got DC characters and I just don't want to see those hurt by this other company. I want more of those things.
Yeah.
I've got Transformers dolls. I've got
Well,
a
we
lot
don't
of fun
talk about
things in here.
Transformers.
Well, I'm trying
Toys
to
are cool.
No, I know what you mean.
trying to like show that I have represented all major studios in here. I even have John Wick stuff.
You
What
do?
else? I do. I think I have a Robin Hood. I have a John Wick glass somewhere in here.
Hood?
The hotel. What?
Taron Egerton Robin Hood?
Yeah. Hold on. I even wore a sweatshirt
Why'd you
today.
say
Oh, I
for
that?
saw the
so
sweatshirt hanging
excited.
on the coat hook.
She's showing us, right? She's digging through her stuff right now. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I
The
drink
Robin.
beer.
I mean, the mug is cool,
I
but
drink beer out of that.
Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
awesome glass, like
or
like,
hot chocolate.
Hopefully,
hot
if I
chocolate.
put it in the dishwasher, the title would come off.
just the Robin Hood part. But the thing on the back with the arrows and the
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
it looks kind of like a Roman
Yeah,
helmet.
who knows
At
what
least take
that
the
movie
Robin
was
Hood title off and
supposed to be.
keep
It's supposed
the.
to be, I think,
armor
his
thing.
mask, his hood.
No, I know.
with
I
all
just
the
mean
arrows
who
in
knows
it.
what time period it was
Right,
supposed
but
to
it
be.
looks like a Roman
a Spartan.
or a Spartan, helmet. It's kind of it's an awesome figure.
Point being,
I got everything in
diversity
here, people.
with media is good,
Yeah,
and Disney is just. I
I
don't
even
know.
got Ferdinand. I loved
Scary
Ferdinand
big.
growing up.
Forgot about that movie. Yeah, that did
I
come
have a
out.
Ferdinand over there. And the big, like, huge things in my office. I have Captain America one sheets that are framed with
Paramount era.
Paramount era Captain America.
That's right.
I gotta
they
say,
are Paramount era.
and they are
Same
like
with the
my
Thor
crown
one, too.
jewels.
That was
Paramount
Paramount.
era Thor.
Boy, do you think Paramount just walks into their offices every day and they're like, God dang it, we messed up.
Yeah, they do. Well, it wasn't. I don't think it.
It didn't explode quite yet. Like they did good business, but it really didn't explode until
They just-
Avengers
I don't-
happened. So
I wonder if a Paramount company that was Paramount Viacom, like CBS, whatever, if the whole company was just one company again, and they would have had more resources to buy Marvel,
sure.
because they had a first look deal to purchase Marvel, and then they passed and Disney got them. But
What a good decision for Marvel, at least.
it's just crazy because Paramount knew they had distributed a few movies. They knew that there was potential there.
Well, they didn't distribute.
They distributed Captain.
They didn't distribute the Avengers yet, and that's really where people
No,
took
but they
notice.
distributed Captain America and
Yeah.
Thor and
Iron Man.
But they certainly weren't. They were profitable, but they certainly aren't what they were today, of course. So I don't know if Paramount
Yeah.
really
Knew.
had an idea.
I don't know.
I mean, it's a crazy thought for sure, but
I even have
I think now they're just
original
like
comic
God.
books. I have a Captain America and Iron Man from the month I was born. That's awesome.
No more Disney praise.
It's more Marvel praise. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
but Marvel is Disney now.
I'm just saying. I love
Sadly,
I love all this stuff.
I know you do. Everybody does. That's why Disney can keep doing what it does.
They've got me. I feel like Disney's like the Matrix, and you're just plugged
It
in,
is.
and they're feeding.
gotta
off
wake
of
up.
You.
We got to deny ourselves the things we love for the greater good.
I think we found the plot for Matrix 4.
Yeah. No wonder Keanu Reeves is coming back. He's like, we got to tell everybody again.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's an ugly situation, but hopefully people will at least start coming around and seeing that
Right.
it's not so black and white.
And
No,
hopefully there's some sort of deal where it's able to be fair for everyone.
although
I
I'm
don't
going to
think so.
end
well,
on the point that this is
hopefully.
two mega corporations, and part of me just really doesn't care what happens.
Yeah,
either.
why would we?
Like
Corporation is such a nasty word anyways.
I know, but they're two media empires that have really no effect on me other than some of the stories that they might tell,
Yeah.
and there's no financial like incentive for me to really care about this.
If you
either
don't base your whole identity around a fandom,
yeah,
it's a lot easier to not care.
no. Part of me is like excited Sony stood up for Disney to do
That
to
is cool.
Disney.
That's a ballsy move that
That's
I
probably
will
the part that I like the
celebrate.
most.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm like, you guys are just like money sucking corporations that.
Yeah, I imagine this little Mr. Sony and this giant like Kingpin from Spider-Verse, like Mr. Disney, and it's just like, you know what? No, we're not
Right.
gonna bow down to you
we're
any
not
longer.
gonna do it.
We can do this ourselves.
We have
Disney
Venom.
crushes now.
So more power to Sony.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like all stories,
I
it's
wouldn't-
going to continue to
I
develop.
wouldn't be
going
surprised if
forward.
Sony coming back though. Like I just prepare yourselves. Like
Yeah,
want them
it's
to.
a possibility.
it is a real
Yeah.
possibility.
If they do, then we know all hope is lost. Disney
Yeah.
can do whatever it wants, whenever it wants. If it doesn't work out right away, they'll be like, okay, we'll just crack our fingers, put our feet
Right.
up,
Good
sip our
crack.
scotch, and just wait for you to come crawling back.
I'm
That was a
impressed by
good
that.
crack.
Yeah, I was
All
impressed
you
by
need
that
is
one.
a cigar and a banker's visor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you
Get a
be
ticker.
Mr. Sony now?
God,
Stock
no.
ticker.
Keep me out of that. I'm just gonna go watch Mandy.
Should we
God.
should we check out the weekend forecast now? What do we
Yeah.
have for movies
Yeah,
coming
let's wrap
out?
this up. We got
So speaking of Sony, they have
Oh,
a
yeah.
faith-based film coming out, Overcomer.
which
Very limited, but
yeah.
should be good and fall for that faith crowd that needs a more commercial title. Then Lionsgate has Angel Has Fallen, and Fox Searchlight has Ready or Not, which kind of came out Wednesday, but it's a weekend movie where you're gonna
Go
see
see
that
it. It's awesome.
uptick.
Yeah, for sure.
So do you think Ready or Not could take number one this weekend?
No,
Or do you think it's not wide enough to?
I don't think so.
I
what
mean,
do you-
it is
It's number one in my
wide
mind.
enough to where it's surprising, but I don't think it's going to be able to get the appeal
So
to get at
do you
number
think
one.
Angels Fallen will overtake Good Boys?
I think so.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
it will
so.
make enough money to do it.
I don't know. I think
Its
the
main
word-
target demographic aren't people who have to worry about back to school. They don't have
That's
to,
true.
do any of that. They're just dudes who like action films, I guess.
Yeah, and it's coming off of Olympus Has Fallen and London Has Fallen, which I don't know if it has a following or not, but at least
they're making 3 of them,
Yeah.
so maybe
At least
it
it's a
does.
I mean, like
it's a
any
property,
trilogy, the
so-
second one didn't do as well as the first one, but the third ones can sometimes do better than the second one.
it's being received better. I'm pretty sure. So,
we'll see.
there's
well,
that.
I mean, it's not really saying that much.
Well, maybe
But
not, but there's
you
a
got
silver
Gerard
lining
Butler and
for it.
Morgan Freeman coming back with a Nick Nolte thrown in the mix.
Yeah.
I do
so.
think
As a
Good Boys.
dad.
I do think Good Boys is gonna have some good word of mouth where we're gonna see a really
Yeah.
small drop, in terms of
Or
the box
gain.
office.
No, not a gain, but probably a very less drop.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. I'll probably just see Ready or Not again.
No, go see Good Boys. Like, you really should go see it.
Oh, I'm gonna see
Good Boys
Peanut
is
Butter
a s-
Falcon tonight
Oh,
because it's finally getting wider and it got here. So
And
I'm
it
gonna
got
check
here.
that out.
Nice.
I'll let you guys know
Kyle's
Monday.
all about those feel-good movies.
I'm so about the feel good movies. I hope I'm
All
not
of
hyping
those-
this one up too much,
all of
but
those
this does sound
familiar
good.
feel-good
Yeah.
movie beats are gonna be there. I haven't even seen it. I'm guaranteeing it.
Maybe that might be the case.
I'm sure
hoping
it'll be
it's-
predictable as hell, but it'll be a good
kinda-
time.
I kind of want to go see Angel Has Fallen. I've not seen I think I saw Olympus, but I didn't see London. I kind of want to see Angel.
Go
I kind
for
of
it.
feel like a Gerard Butler action movie. Dad.
You were right about that cut in the trailer,
the
by the
worst
way,
thing
because
ever.
they showed
Well-
like a clip of like that scene. And
Yeah, the
it's for
actual
sure.
scene.
Yeah, it's for sure.
He
cut.
doesn't say dad until like 20 seconds later.
When
but in
you
the
when you
trailer-
told me about that, I could never unsee it because that trailer was like everywhere for a while, and so I
Yeah.
was like,
I was always the only person. I mean, everyone else in the theaters watching it thinking it's like an action movie trailer, but I always laughed the entire time. People like, what does this guy think is so funny? I'm like, do you not see how
it's
this
a
is
terrible
edited?
editing
Do you
mistake.
not see this?
Well,
But
people
yeah.
don't recognize that stuff a whole lot, but it's there. But anyway, I just thought that was funny.
Take it away with your well done plug, Kyle.
Oh, you want me to do the plug?
You
All
always
right.
do the plug.
All right, so Off the Break Podcast, you guys can find it on iTunes, but you can also find it on our website at silverscreeninsider.com. And on top of that, you can check out our entire movie database of upcoming releases and movies that we've discussed already, as well as the news item stuff that we brought up today on the podcast. So check it out.
We didn't talk about trailers today, but I thought that Jexi trailer, JEXI,
XI.
was hilarious.
Yeah,
So
I
I'd
actually
go
thought
check
that
out
one
that
was good.
trailer. That's like, what if our phones became the crazed ex-girlfriend memes?
Did you guys ever see Her?
personified?
Yeah, that's
with
what I
Joaquin
told Cody.
Phoenix?
I was
It's
like,
literally
that's
Her,
like
but
inverse Her.
comedy. Yeah.
Like evil comedy Her.
I never saw
The
that.
Bombshell trailer was really good too. The Lionsgate Bombshell
Yes.
trailer.
That got a
People
lot
should
of
check that one
praise.
out.
It's Charlize Theron looks so scary like Megyn Kelly that
Unrecognizable.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, you can kind of see, it's not Megyn Kelly because you would never be in a Fox
Yeah.
News movie about it. But
She does. Yeah, she does. Of the three of them, she was by far the most quote unquote unrecognizable.
yeah,
but
very well casted
she
there.
looked crazy like Megyn Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the trailer that stood out to me was Motherless Brooklyn. If you're like me and you've been going through a severe Edward Norton drought,
True.
and you just need that fix, you can get him as a Tourette's suffering underdog who gets taken under Bruce Willis mobster's wing, and he goes on a quest of detective work
avenge him.
and investigation.
Directed and written.
Yeah,
by
directed,
Edward
written, and
Norton,
produced
too,
by
so-
Edward Norton. So that's what he's been working on all these years.
Good.
If you had children, you would know he was on Storybots. So I've seen some Edward Norton. He plays a TV appliance salesman.
Live action, or is it a voice?
Oh, it's live action.
That sounds
So
fantastic.
storybots are like little animated, like machine looking things that they have to go and find the answer to a question, and the questions are really cute. Like,
Oh, it's like an educational show.
yeah, it's like, where does ring come from? And it's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original show, but my kids love it. And he was one, I can't remember.
Snoop Dogg.
I can't remember. Yeah, Snoop Dogg is in it. Snoop Dogg was on a one about where
Wait,
he's
is it Snoop Dogg?
yeah, no, Snoop Dogg really is, and he talks about
Yeah,
binary
Ali
coding.
Wong. Oh, and you love Ali Wong.
Yep.
So
So
Is
they're
that binary coding is a subject in a kids' educational television
Christina
show?
Applegate,
ones
Wanda
and
Sykes, David
zeros,
Cross.
and they talk about coding being a combination of ones and zeros, and they're trying to find a cat, and it's in a box, and the
Judy
one
Greer stars in it.
the
That's
one thinks the
fantastic.
cat is like stuck in there, and she's like, I can't help it.
It's
She
like
opens it up,
Schrodinger's
and it's all
cat.
ones and zeros until it gets processed. They're trying to show how computers process
That's awesome.
ones and zeros
That's
to create.
That actually,
crazy.
that actually is really cool.
And Snoop
Yeah.
Dogg
So modern.
is the controller of the machine that does it.
I might have to watch this show.
It's
Netflix-
really funny, but
Netflix
Edward
is
Norton's in it.
insane. I did not know that.
The
Well,
very
so he has been around still. Cool.
the very first episode had Jay Leno in it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh.
Storybots. He's been doing stuff.
So check out an episode of Storybots and then go to the theater and see some
Ready or
movies.
Not.
Yeah, see Ready or Not, please.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a good weekend.
Until next time.